Hello, and welcome to Eurotech, covering the key European tech stories from December 20th till the end of last year. This week, we have big moves in fintech, massive startup fundings, innovative acquisitions, and strategic developments spanning no-code software, cybersecurity, AI, defense tech, and quantum chips. Later, we will have a deep dive on the most disruptive and transformational defense technologies emerging in Europe, from drones and next-generation jets to missiles, AI, and beyond. Let's dive in. UK digital bank Monzo has had a very eventful week, achieving two major milestones to close out the year. First, Monzo secured a full European banking license through the Central Bank of Ireland and the ECB, making it the first app-based bank to gain an EU license via Ireland. This allows Monzo to officially expand across Europe. The company is establishing its EU headquarters in Dublin and gearing up to launch in Ireland as its initial market, with 14+ million UK customers already on its mobile-first platform.
Monzo's second big move is its first ever acquisition, a deal to buy London-based digital mortgage broker Habito for an undisclosed sum. This acquisition, pending regulatory approval, will let Monzo integrate Habito's online mortgage services into the Monzo app, meaning users will soon be able to find and secure home loans seamlessly through Monzo. Monzo's chief banking officer said the goal is to make it easier for customers to find, compare, and secure the right mortgage, all from the Monzo app. It's a significant step as Monzo expands its product suite from current accounts and savings to now mortgages, aiming to become a one-stop financial super app. Quick context. Monzo is one of the UK's foremost fintechs, launched in 2015, known for its coral-colored debit cards and budgeting features. Until now, it has operated only under a UK license. Gaining an EU banking license opens the door to millions of new customers across Europe.
German neobank N26, another of Europe's fintech heavyweights, announced a major leadership change as it grapples with regulatory scrutiny. N26 has appointed Mike Dargan, a British banking executive from UBS, as its new CEO effective April 2026. Dargan's hiring marks the end of an era. N26's co-founders, Valentin Stolf and Maximilian Tayenthal, are stepping back from day-to-day management after leading the company since 2013. The incoming CEO says he's excited to build on N26's strong digital banking foundation and forward-looking strategy, bringing his experience in banking and tech to the role.
Notably, this CEO announcement came on the same day N26 was hit with fresh sanctions from BaFin, Germany's financial regulator. BaFin imposed new compliance measures, including banning N26 from issuing new mortgages in the Netherlands and appointing a special monitor to oversee the bank's anti-money laundering controls. These steps follow earlier penalties, like a €9.2 million fine in 2024 for slow reporting of suspicious activity. The regulatory pressure has reportedly caused investor unrest and pushed N26 to strengthen its governance. N26 remains one of the continent's most valuable fintech startups, so this leadership transition will be closely watched. The hope is that a fresh CEO can help N26 turn the page on its compliance troubles and continue its growth in European digital banking.
A new European tech unicorn has emerged in the no-code software space. Lovable, a startup that lets people build apps without writing code, has raised a whopping $330 million Series B funding round at a $6.6 billion valuation. The round was led by Alphabet's growth fund Capital G and Menlo Ventures, with a who's who of strategic investors joining in, from NVIDIA's N Ventures and Salesforce Ventures to Atlassian, HubSpot, and top VCs like Khosla and Excel. Such a high valuation for a young company.
It should be noted, Lovable launched just a year ago.
Exactly. That basically underscores the huge excitement around no-code platforms.
Lovable's mission is to empower the 99% of us who have ideas but aren't programmers. Its web-based builder tool allows marketers, project managers, nurses, entrepreneurs, basically anyone, to create real software applications through a visual interface instead of coding. And users have flocked to it. Over 25 million projects were created on Lovable in its first year, with more than 100,000 new projects built every day. Companies like Klarna and Deutsche Telekom already use Lovable for rapid prototyping and internal tools.
By removing coding bottlenecks, Lovable helps teams launch products or features in days instead of months. Investors say Lovable is tapping into a latent market of tens of millions of people who can now become software creators. With this huge funding, Lovable plans to deepen integrations with workplace tools, beef up collaboration features for enterprise users, and help users take their no-code prototypes all the way to live production apps. In short, Lovable is becoming a European powerhouse in the booming no-code movement.
In cybersecurity news, Exein, an Italian deep tech company, has raised an additional 100 million euros to scale up its embedded security platform. This new financing follows a 70 million euro Series C round earlier in 2025, bringing Exein's total funding this year to 170 million euros. The round is led by Blue Cloud Ventures, with participation from HV Capital, Germany, Intrepid Geodesic Capital, and a financing facility from JP Morgan. Exein is not a household name, but its technology could be in billions of devices you use. It provides firmware-level cybersecurity for connected devices, essentially an immune system for the Internet of Things.
As high-profile cyber attacks increasingly disrupt hospitals, power grids, transit systems, and supply chains, manufacturers are realizing they need to bake security directly into devices rather than relying only on network firewalls. Exein's platform does exactly that. It integrates an AI-driven security layer into a device's firmware, the low-level software on hardware. This lets devices detect and contain threats in real time, even when offline. For example, if malware tries to tamper with a smart sensor or a car's computer, Exein's code running on the device can catch it on the spot.
The approach is gaining traction. Exein says its software now protects over 1.5 billion devices across industries, and it expects to exceed 2 billion devices secured in early 2026. With the new funding, Exein plans to accelerate product development and global expansion to meet growing demand for IoT security. In a world of smart everything, from appliances to factories, Exein is positioning itself as a guardian of the connected future.
Switzerland's tech scene scored a win as Neural Concept, a Lausanne-based AI startup, landed $100 million in Series C funding to advance AI-native engineering design. The round was led by Goldman Sachs' Growth Fund, with participation from existing European investors like Forstay, Alvin, HTGF, and others. Neural Concept began as a spin-off from EPFL in 2019. Its software uses artificial intelligence to supercharge the work of engineers. Think of it as an AI co-pilot for product design.
In practice, Neural Concept's platform plugs into computer-aided design, CAD, and simulation tools that engineers use to design everything from car parts to spacecraft. By understanding 3D geometries, constraints, and physics, the AI can rapidly optimize designs for better performance. This means engineers can iterate far faster, testing many more design options in software instead of physical prototypes. The company says its tech helps improve efficiency, safety, and even energy use of products by finding optimal designs quickly.
Neural Concept has been working with automotive and aerospace firms, component manufacturers, and even semiconductor companies, essentially any field where complex engineering is involved. As pilots have succeeded, customers are now scaling up deployment of these AI design tools across their research teams. This substantial investment underlines how AI is increasingly vital in traditional industries. By embedding AI in the engineering workflow, startups like Neural Concept aim to transform how everything around us is designed.
Germany's Quantum-Systems, known for its advanced military-grade drones, made headlines by acquiring Fernride, a Munich-based autonomous driving startup focused on driverless trucks. Quantum-Systems is integrating Fernride's self-driving vehicle technology into its portfolio, signaling a push to create unmanned systems that operate across air and ground domains. Until now, Quantum-Systems' expertise was mainly in AI-powered aerial drones.
By buying Fernride, which provides a proven software platform for autonomous trucks and yard vehicles, the company can offer defense and industrial clients a connected cross-domain suite of robots, essentially drones that fly and vehicles that drive themselves as a coordinated system. Fernride brings some impressive credentials in autonomous mobility. In 2025, it became the first company in Europe to get TÜV certification for autonomous trucks, and it conducted initial trials with the German armed forces to automate military logistics convoys. Today's deep dive is all about defense tech. Stay tuned.
And finally, a cutting-edge development at the intersection of quantum tech and semiconductors. Munich-based startup QuantumDiamonds is investing over 150 million euros to establish a new production facility for its quantum chip inspection systems. QuantumDiamonds is a spin-off from the Technical University of Munich that has pioneered a novel way to detect defects inside microchips using quantum sensors.
Their patented technology, called quantum diamond microscopy, QDM, uses special properties of diamonds, nitrogen vacancy centers, to visualize electrical currents and pinpoint flaws in complex semiconductor packages non-destructively. In simpler terms, it can see problems inside a chip that X-rays or other tools might miss, which is incredibly valuable for chip makers trying to ensure quality in advanced chips for AI, mobile devices, and cars.
Now, with support from the German federal and Bavarian governments under the European Chips Act, QuantumDiamonds will build a state-of-the-art plant in Munich. The CEO, Kevin Berghoff, said the company chose to build in Germany because they want to grow this critical technology with European talent and IP. This move positions QuantumDiamonds as a key player in Europe's effort to strengthen its semiconductor supply chain. It's a reminder that Europe's quantum tech sector is advancing from labs to real-world manufacturing, with systems deploying globally by early 2026.
And now, this week's Deep Dive.
Europe stands at a crossroads in defense and security. For decades, European nations have relied heavily on the United States for military technology, hardware, and strategic guarantees, a dependence rooted in the post-World War II order and solidified through NATO. Today, however, a confluence of factors is forcing Europe's defense landscape to transform. Russia's war in Ukraine has starkly reminded Europe of its own security needs, while an America First turn in U.S. politics raises doubts about the reliability of transatlantic support.
These pressures have ignited a European defense tech revolution, a surge in investment, innovation, and ambition to close the capability gap and even leapfrog into an era of European defense supremacy. This deep dive will explore the most disruptive and transformational defense technologies emerging in Europe, from drones and next-generation jets to missiles, AI, and beyond, and outline scenarios that could see Europe move from dependency on the U.S. to a position of unprecedented strength. We'll also spotlight the rise of private defense startups alongside traditional players set against the backdrop of NATO dynamics and business opportunities, all in an accessible way for listeners new to the defense sector.
The new urgency is reinvigorating Europe's defense industry and even drawing in a wave of private sector innovation. The old model of a few big contractors waiting on multi-year government programs is giving way to a more dynamic ecosystem. As Global Finance magazine noted, gone are the days when a handful of defense conglomerates waited on ministers to greenlight billion-euro programs before daring to manufacture. Europe's leaders, uncertain of U.S. support, have recognized they need to bolster their own defenses now.
This has opened the door for startups and new players to step up with innovative solutions on faster timelines. Venture capital investment in European defense tech is surging, reaching $1.5 billion in 2025 alone, a record for the continent. Over 230 defense startups have been founded in Europe just since 2022, many inspired by battlefield lessons from Ukraine and backed by governments eager for fresh ideas.
Let's dive into the core of this revolution, the cutting-edge technologies and projects that could redefine Europe's military power. These range from combat drones and next generation of fighter jets to hypersonic missiles, space-based systems, and artificial intelligence. Some are near-term and already being deployed, while others are speculative or in early development. But all have the potential to transform Europe's defense and reduce, or even reverse, the transatlantic imbalance. We will also highlight how private startups are playing a big role, alongside traditional defense giants, in driving these innovations.
Technology number 1. Unmanned systems and drone warfare.
Drones have emerged as a game changer in modern warfare, a fact brutally demonstrated in conflicts from the Middle East to the Nagorno-Karabakh War and Ukraine. The US and Israel pioneered many military drone capabilities, but Europe is now racing to catch up and innovate. Unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, are seen as critical for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, ISR, as well as for strike missions without risking pilots. Lacking a strong drone industry of its own for years, Europe often bought or leased Israeli and American drones, e.g. Israeli Heron drones used by France and Germany, or American Reapers by Italy. That is changing fast.
European industry, big and small, is developing a range of drones, from small tactical quadcopters up to large jet-powered UAVs, Eurodrone Male UAV, a flagship project led by Airbus. The Eurodrone is a medium-altitude, long-endurance drone akin to the U.S. Predator/Reaper. Co-funded by Germany, France, Italy, and Spain, it aims to give Europe a homegrown workhorse for surveillance and strikes. Slated to fly later in the decade, Eurodrone will free European forces from relying on U.S. Reapers and provide sovereign control over sensor data and targeting. It's also designed with open architecture to integrate European-made sensors and missiles.
Europe's next-gen fighter programs envision advanced drones teaming with manned jets. The concept of remote carriers, small autonomous or semi-autonomous drones that fly alongside fighters to act as force multipliers, is central to Europe's Future Combat Air System, FCAS. These drone wingmen could carry sensors or weapons, overwhelm enemy air defenses with sheer numbers, and take on high-risk tasks. European engineers are testing prototypes of such loyal wingmen. Additionally, startups are exploring drone swarms, networks of small drones using AI to coordinate attacks or surveillance. While still experimental, swarm tactics could give smaller European forces a big edge by saturating battlefields with autonomous systems.
The war in Ukraine has proven the value of readily available small drones for reconnaissance and even frontline attack, dropping munitions. European startups have been quick to respond. Germany's Quantum-Systems, for example, started in 2014 focused on mapping drones. But since 2022, its small electric drones have been sent to Ukraine for real-time observation of Russian forces. Quantum-Systems is now developing drones to intercept hostile UAVs, literally drones that hunt other drones. Another startup, France's Harmattan AI, founded in 2024, has contracts to supply 1,000 autonomous reconnaissance and combat drones to the French military. These drones can scout or strike on their own, using onboard AI to identify targets, even without constant communication links.
Europe is also investing in more lethal UAVs. A striking example is Destinus, a startup based in the Netherlands, founded by a former Russian entrepreneur turned European ally. Destinus is developing hypersonic strike drones and loitering munitions, drones that can cruise until a target is found. They acquired a Swiss AI firm to enable navigation without GPS, vital if satellites are jammed, as seen in Ukraine. Meanwhile, a German spin-off called Stark Defense, from the Quantum-Systems founder, is focusing on armed attack drones and attracting rapid investment. Even legacy companies are joining the fray. Turkey's Bayraktar TB2 drone, famous for its success in Ukraine, indirectly spurred European defense firms, for instance, Italy's Leonardo and Poland's WB Group, to develop similar male combat drones to ensure Europe isn't left behind in this now proven domain.
Beyond the skies, European innovation extends to land and sea robotics. Autonomous ground vehicles for logistics and reconnaissance are in development by firms like Estonia's Milrem, now part of a larger European defense group. And on the naval side, startups like the UK's Kraken Technology have built unmanned surface vessels. Their K3 Scout is an autonomous boat that can carry weapon payloads to sea, essentially a robotic patrol boat that could swarm an adversary's navy. Likewise, in the underwater realm, France's Euro-Atlas is making autonomous submersibles to monitor critical undersea infrastructure like communication cables or pipelines, a response to the Nord Stream pipeline sabotage fears. These speculative technologies could revolutionize areas of warfare traditionally dominated by manned platforms.
Technology number 2, next-generation fighter jets and air combat systems.
Perhaps the most ambitious European defense projects underway are the 6th-generation fighter jet programs. Europe is currently pursuing not one, but 2 parallel next-gen combat aircraft projects, the Franco-German-Spanish Future Combat Air System, FCAS, and the British-Italian-Japanese Global Combat Air Program, GCAP, formerly known as Tempest. These programs are crucial for Europe's future air power and industrial autonomy, as they aim to produce advanced fighters to replace current European jets, like the Eurofighter Typhoon and French Rafale, by the mid-2030s to 2040 timeframe. If successful, Europe would field its own cutting-edge jets instead of buying American designs, like the F-35, which many European countries have opted for in the interim.
FCAS, Future Combat Air System, not to be confused with the UK's program, is a tri-national effort by France, Germany, and Spain. It's often touted as Europe's most important defense project, with potential to set new standards and revolutionize air power. FCAS is designed as a system of systems. At its heart is the Next Generation Fighter, NGF, a stealthy manned jet, expected to be bristling with advanced features, stealth, supercruise, directed energy weapons, etc. But the NGF won't fly alone. It will team with remote carriers, which are semi-autonomous drones acting as its loyal wingmen, and all of this will be linked by a combat cloud, a secure network for data sharing across air, land, sea, space, and cyber domains.
In essence, FCAS is not just a new fighter jet, but an entire interconnected combat system. For example, in a combat scenario, a human pilot in the NGF could command a swarm of remote carrier drones to scout ahead or engage threats, all coordinated via AI-driven battle management systems in the combat cloud. The inclusion of AI, big data analytics, and enhanced networking is meant to ensure faster decision-making and distributed lethality in future wars.
The FCAS program, launched in 2017, has faced political and technical hurdles, from industrial work-share disputes between partners to questions about cost, but recently made progress in 2023 to 2025 with demonstrator contracts. Its target is to have an operational system by around 2040, with a demonstrator flying well before that. If FCAS comes to fruition, it will be a milestone for European high-tech development, leveraging AI, new propulsion, possibly adaptive cycle engines, advanced sensors, and stealth. Airbus and Dassault Aviation are leading it, reflecting a marriage of Germany's and France's top aerospace talents. And as Airbus itself notes, FCAS is key to ensuring Europe's future independence in defense, keeping Europe at the cutting edge of military tech.
Meanwhile, GCAP/Tempest is led by the UK, in partnership with Italy, and, since a recent merge with Japan's similar project, effectively a transcontinental venture. Tempest aims to fly by 2035, a bit earlier, and similarly will involve a 6th-gen fighter teaming with drones and harnessing tech like wearable cockpits, AR displays for pilots, laser weapons, and cooperative engagement capabilities. Having 2 separate European fighter programs might seem counterintuitive. Wouldn't one unified effort be more efficient? But politics, Brexit, and differing strategic goals led to this dual track.
Some analysts wonder if the projects might converge down the line, but for now, Europe is intent on proving it can deliver advanced combat aircraft independently. Success in these programs would mean Europe isn't stuck relying on U.S. fighters for its air forces in the late 21st century.
Beyond the big headline fighter jets, Europe is innovating in other aerospace areas that contribute to air supremacy. As stopgaps, European industry is upgrading existing jets. For example, Eurofighter Typhoons are getting new electronically scanned radars and weapons. Notably, European partners are developing new air-launched weapons, a next-gen stealthy cruise missile and anti-ship missile under the Future Cruise Anti-Ship Weapon Program. These will replace older missiles and ensure Europe has its own long-range precision strike options.
Europe tested Stealth Unmanned Combat Air Vehicle, UCAV, demonstrators like the French NEURON and British Taranis nearly a decade ago. Those demos showed Europe's technical skill in building stealthy drones that can drop bombs. While they didn't immediately enter service, their legacy feeds into current programs. There's speculation that some stealth UCAV may emerge as part of the Tempest program or as a French interim capability before FCAS, potentially allowing Europe to conduct strikes in heavily defended airspace with uncrewed systems.
European air forces also look to improve their electronic warfare, EDW, capabilities. Having indigenous systems for electronic attack is crucial if Europe must operate without U.S. electronic warfare support. The new European jets are expected to have advanced EW suites. Startups are contributing here too. For instance, Portugal's Tecaver, known for drones, is supplying the UK Royal Air Force with drones that can jam enemy radars as part of an electronic defense concept.
Jumping to our third technologies, missiles, air defense, and hypersonics.
Missile technology is another domain where Europe is pushing boundaries to both defend itself and have strategic strike options. This covers offensive missiles and defensive systems to shoot down everything from drones to ballistic missiles. On the defensive side, a top priority is air and missile defense. The threat of Russian missiles has prompted Europe to act. A key gap identified by European planners is an integrated air and missile defense. Many European countries operate medium-range SAMs, like Patriot from the US or the French/Italian SAMP/T.
But until recently, Europe lacked a coordinated, multi-layered shield, and especially had no answer to ballistic missiles or the new hypersonic weapons being developed by Russia and China. To fix this, Germany's Sky Shield initiative is pulling together at least 17 countries to jointly procure systems for a layered defense. As mentioned, the long-range tier is being filled by Israel's Arrow 3 interceptors. For medium range, more Patriots and some European SAMP/T units will be deployed. And for short range, systems like Germany's own Iris TSLM are in play.
Crucially, European industry doesn't want to cede this whole field. MBDA, Europe's missile consortium, has projects to develop a hypersonic interceptor that could in the future counter advanced threats like hypersonic glide vehicles. Under an EU program dubbed Twister, MBDA leads a consortium studying the technologies needed for intercepting high-speed, maneuvering missiles. This is speculative and likely a decade away, but reflects Europe's determination to not rely entirely on US or Israeli missile defenses in the long run. In radar and sensor technology too, Europe is investing in space-based early warning. A Franco-German effort called Odin's Eye aims to put satellites in orbit to detect ballistic or hypersonic launches, a capability previously exclusive to the US and Russia.
On the offensive side, missile development in Europe is trying to keep pace with global trends. France has taken a lead in exploring hypersonic strike weapons. In June 2023, France's Defense Procurement Agency tested a hypersonic glider vehicle called VMAX, successfully launching it on a test flight. This experimental maneuverable warhead is a step toward a future French hypersonic missile, potentially giving France and Europe the ability to penetrate advanced air defenses with sheer speed. The target date for an operational French hypersonic system is around 2035.
If achieved, Europe would join the exclusive club, so far the US, China, and Russia, with such capability. Additionally, France's long-standing ASMPA nuclear-tipped cruise missiles are due for a successor, likely a stealthier and faster missile, ensuring France's nuclear deterrent remains credible. Other European nations, like Germany and the UK, while not pursuing hypersonic weapons alone, might partner or benefit from these developments down the line.
It's worth noting the role of startups in this arena, too. A fascinating example is Cambridge Aerospace, which raised around $100 million to develop a European Iron Dome-style system. Their first product, Skyhammer, is intended as a low-cost interceptor for drones and cruise missiles. While still in stealth mode, the company's moves signal how startups are targeting niches that big defense firms may be too slow to fill. If Skyhammer or similar projects succeed, Europe could have indigenous counter-drone and short-range missile defenses deployable in large numbers.
Our fourth set of technologies in focus are cyber warfare, AI, and digital battlefields. Modern defense is as much about bytes as bullets. Cyber warfare and artificial intelligence are pivotal emerging domains where Europe must compete to achieve technological sovereignty. The EU and NATO have invested in cyber defense coordination. European tech firms, some spun out of national intelligence agencies, are developing offensive cyber capabilities and network defense tools. A challenge is retaining talent and integrating highly classified cyber operations across countries.
Nonetheless, nations like France and the UK are known to have advanced cyber forces, and EU initiatives aim to improve collective resilience. Startups in cybersecurity are booming, and dual-use cyber startups end up contributing to defense needs as well. AI-powered decision support is a big focus. NATO and EU forces see value in AI that can assist commanders by wargaming scenarios or suggesting optimal responses in real time. Europe's startup scene is particularly vibrant here. Germany's Helsing is a standout, building software that helps analyze sensor feeds and hardware like the HX-2 strike drone.
Helsing partnered with Sweden's Saab to upgrade the Eurofighter's radar using AI, showing how a startup can contribute to legacy platforms. Another startup, Kila Technologies, is integrating AI with off-the-shelf hardware like tablets and cameras for troops, essentially making a plug-and-play battlefield network that soldiers can use to get live info from multiple sensors. Kila's system aggregates drone feeds, CCTV, and more into one interface for rapid threat response. These examples underscore how AI is enabling faster OODA loops on the battlefield.
Europe is also funding AI research through the European Defence Fund, EDF, targeting areas like AI-enabled troop training simulations, automated logistics, and predictive maintenance. In the long term, if Europe can harness AI across its forces, it could mitigate manpower shortages and improve efficiency, doing more with less, which is vital for a continent with limited personnel compared to, say, the US or China. Modern electronic warfare also increasingly overlaps with cyber. European countries like Germany have invested in EW aircraft, and startups are working on counter-drone electronic systems.
We'll likely see European-made directed energy weapons fielded in the next few years for short-range defense. Rheinmetall has demonstrated a high-energy laser that can shoot down drones or mortar shells. Lasers and microwaves represent an emerging tech where Europe could excel. While more futuristic, Europe is also eyeing quantum tech for defense. Computations could break encryptions, but also help in designing new materials or optimizing logistics, while quantum communication promises hack-proof links. By 2040, one can imagine European forces using quantum-enhanced radar that can spot the faintest drone or stealth jet, giving them an informational edge.
And our fifth set of tech includes space and surveillance.
Space is the new high ground for defense, and Europe recognizes that having autonomous access to and use of space is critical for military supremacy. Historically, Europe relied on US GPS and spy satellites, but it has been building its own capacities. The EU's Galileo satellite constellation provides Europe with its own GPS equivalent, ensuring European forces can still navigate and target accurately even if GPS were shut off. This is a significant strategic autonomy milestone.
Earth observation and reconnaissance are also evolving. Agencies like CNES, DLR, and ESA have deployed satellites, and commercial startups are filling the gap in real-time surveillance. Finland's IC operates a constellation of synthetic aperture radar, SAR satellites that can see through clouds and at night. With the world's largest SAR microsatellite fleet, ICE is seen as a key piece in Europe's goal to wean off dependence on US satellite intel. Airbus's subsidiary Pleiades Neo also launched high-res optical satellites that European militaries use.
Europe has robust military communication satellites, and plans for a new EU-wide secure satellite communication network, codenamed IRIS-2, are underway. The reliance on SpaceX for launches has been noted with some concern in Europe. Enter startups like ISAR Aerospace in Germany, which is developing small orbital rockets. If companies like ISAR or France's Ariane Group can provide independent launch services, Europe can loft its defense satellites without needing American rockets. By securing access to space, Europe underpins all the aforementioned tech. It's a complex, expensive endeavor, but the pieces are falling into place.
In all these scenarios, one thing is clear. European defense technology and business will never be the same as it was a decade ago. The complacency born of the post-Cold War era has evaporated. A new ecosystem is emerging, one where startups collaborate with established defense giants, and where strategic urgency trumps the old bureaucracy. For startup founders and investors, the traditionally closed defense sector is opening up in Europe, offering chances to apply dual-use tech to defense problems.
Business listeners should grasp that defense procurement has long lead times. But once a product is adopted, it tends to have a long life cycle with steady revenue. The influx of new funding and political support in Europe lowers the barrier for non-traditional players, as governments create innovation units and sandbox programs to fast-track promising tech. There is also the NATO Innovation Fund, a €1 billion multi-nation venture fund. These are signs of a cultural change in European defense, from risk aversion to a more Silicon Valley-like embrace of disruption.
For strategists and policy thinkers, the coming years will test whether Europe can translate spending into capability effectively. Will we see a transatlantic renaissance where both sides innovate together? Or will a more transactional U.S. approach and European independence drive a wedge? A more technologically empowered Europe could be a source of stability. The coming decade will reveal how far this transformation can go, and whether the bold vision of European defense supremacy remains a sci-fi scenario or becomes a tangible reality.
That's all for this week's Eurotech Wrap-Up. From fintech shakeups to deep tech breakthroughs, it's been an exciting end to 2025 for European tech companies. Thank you for listening, and be sure to join us next time for another roundup of Europe's top tech stories. Happy 2026.
This podcast was produced by Asif Rajani and brought to you by Eurotech.vc, empowering Europe to lead the global tech race.